So we got an update on some of the leads from the upcoming Avengers Doomsday, and yeah, I think some of these are expected while others are not really as expected. So let's talk about who exactly will be leading in terms of, POV and how much time we follow them in Avengers Doomsday. So as most of you know, the cast of Avengers Doomsday, as it sits after the initial reveal, is close to 30 characters. Now this is at the time just the confirmed cast and not the additional actors that we've seen around the set and or in proximity that have also been rumored and confirmed by various trades and insiders. So the cast is already impressive. Now obviously this means that not every character is going to be front and center. I know people have a hard time understanding that many of these characters are going to be in minor roles and or just supporting roles and not front and center and central to the overall plot where you have to follow them for the majority of the film. You can't make a film like that. It's sort of like the other Avengers films, Clint, for the first two films, gets a little bit to do, right? In the Avengers, some other characters, far less. They kind of swap, but you always have the main character, the POV, which was typically Captain America followed by Iron Man. So what we're talking about for the rest of the video is going to be the expected characters that we are following and their importance, aka who gets the most amount of screen time, and then process of elimination to not that high of screen time. But again, all the characters we're about to talk about are going to have plenty of screen time and be front and center. So just because I mentioned somebody as like the 6th or 7th out of this batch, it doesn't mean that they're only in the film for 5 minutes. I've already seen people assume that. That's not what it is. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what characters will be front and center. So first up, let's get into our 4, maybe 5 main characters. And I'll tell you why 4, maybe 5 once I get into it. But obviously there's one that takes center stage. First and foremost is Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is expected to be the POV and the main character we spend the most amount of time with. Now this makes sense for a various amount of reasons. Because one, Robert Downey Jr. is back and getting paid $50 million plus a back end of the box office. They're going to want to milk him for all he's worth and put him into every frame that they can. This does make sense. So in that regard, this is a Doctor Doom movie. It's called Doomsday. Yeah, Doctor Doom is going to be front and center. Next up is Thor. Thor is expected to have a big role in this. That's pretty much like a major part of where the character has been since we last saw him in Thor Love and Thunder, and also the point that he is sort of out there doing his own thing and then is thrust into this story that involves his brother is expected to be at center stage because obviously he doesn't know that his brother is now a god. So that's going to be very prominent in the plot, how things unfold and what they end up doing with his character arc. Next up is Mr. Fantastic, and this is where the confusion comes in with the 4 or 5 main characters because Herbie will be by his side. Herbie is expected to play a major role as a sort of cute robot that they can sell, and of course, it's rumored that they're going to change his look so they can move more merchandise, and he's sort of going to be like, Reed's best pal. This makes sense. We've seen Marvel, and especially Disney with Star Wars, make droids a thing that sell. This honestly just makes a whole lot of sense. And because Herbie is a big deal and will be with children, you put him at the forefront. Next up is the Invisible Woman. Again, this will make sense. She's like the main character of the Fantastic Four. We know that Sue is going to be important as Franklin Richards. Her and Reed's son is also apparently very central to the plot. So this is one of those elements that I think just goes together like, peanut butter and jelly, if you will. So this one also works for me. And the next two are tied, apparently, and that's the Human Torch and the Thing. The Fantastic Four are going to be like the heroes that we follow most prominently because of their proximity to Fantastic Four first steps leading directly into this. And Human Torch and Thing are expected to sort of be exactly what you expect of them. They're there to service the plot, but don't expect a lot of character development and them at the forefront of everything. So if you're paying attention, it's the Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, and Thor that is the main characters of Avengers Doomsday. And by main, I mean they get the most amount of screen time and character development, with the next set of characters being the secondary up, who also get plenty of development, but they're not the most crucial to the plot. So per this report, a lot of people are freaking out saying that the Avengers, especially Captain America, got demoted. Guys, that's not what it is. Again, if you look at Avengers Infinity War, right? People will tell you that Captain America is a main character in that film. He barely has 15 minutes of screen time in Infinity War, okay? Guys, you need to understand that using time and how you put the character forward and how they're used, even if they have only 15 minutes of screen time in a 2.5-hour film, their role does not mean that they got a diminished size or aren't important. Enter Captain America. When it comes to the rankings, he will be second tier, along with the rest of the Avengers. And a lot of people are worried about this because they're worried that the Avengers aren't going to be a big, focus and that Captain America got demoted. Guys, that's not the thing. If you look at the film, the Avengers and the new Avengers are obviously going to be in this film and a pretty big deal. The whole reason that they are not being pushed to the forefront is because it's a multiverse story that involves Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four, who are multiverse refugees. I'm guessing that they're going to have equal time, and Captain America and the new Avengers will, of course, have their flaws and their banter, but obviously they're going to be front and center as the heroes we follow. So this, to me, is not a concern at all. So the Avengers that will join Captain America are reportedly the likes of Shang-Chi, Yelena, Bucky, obviously US Agent, and the rest of them, which obviously are all non-multiverse characters, which again makes sense. And to me, this whole sort of approach, I think, really does work, because why would they be the central focus and our POV into a multiverse story? Half these characters don't even know that the multiverse is a thing, So this is going to be their introduction, so they got to catch up with the people whose story this is, aka the Fantastic Four. So once they're caught up, obviously in the next couple of films, that's when they get the promotion. So now let's talk about the characters that are expected to have the least amount of time, aka the X-Men. So per reports, most of the X-Men will not be front and center. From Gambit to Magneto to Cyclops to everybody, they're the third pillars, the third tier characters. And this again does make sense. You can't put the focus and the main focus on characters who will be gone within 3 to 4 years once Secret Wars is over. You need to put the focus on characters that are going to stick around. Captain America, Shang-Chi, the Fantastic Four. The X-Men are here to serve a purpose, which is continuing and wrapping up the story from the Marvels of Monica being trapped in another universe and an incursion. Now, this doesn't mean that the characters only get 2 minutes of screen time, as some people are suggesting. This means that they're going to have ample time. We've seen set photos, the X-Mansion, Sentinels, them possibly in the 616 universe as well, attacking Doctor Doom, whatever the case is. What you need to understand here is that there is a tier system, and some characters work better front and center, while other ones work better as a, additional resource to tell the story. Think of it this way. Gambit and the rest of the characters in Avengers Doomsday will have as much time as Gambit and the others had in The Void in Deadpool and Wolverine. And I would argue they had plenty of time. They got their moment, bit of conversation, great action sequence, and they're done. So think of that, but a little bit more, because the film will be longer. So overall, we're looking at a pretty stacked main cast and characters that are second and third tier that fills out a pretty long film, I would say. So don't worry about characters, being underutilized or anything like that. Guaranteed there will be a couple of red shirts there that are there just to be sacrificed. But outside of that, a lot of these characters are sticking around and will be back for Secret Wars. Thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will. And if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.